God, where do I begin? So I had the oddest dream last night. Really weird. So it starts off. I have a best friend whose friend lives in San Antonio, different city than mine. I'm on lunch and she calls me and she's all like, hey, let's go eat. And I'm all like, okay, let's go eat. I'm like, just excited because this bitch is here, okay? And one of my girl coworkers decides to tag along, okay? So we go and she's like, hey, let's go here. And then let's go here. And then I'm like, bitch, I was in lunch. It's like 2 hours later. And she's like, I'm like, I have to call to work and tell them that I had an emergency. You know, the responsible adult thing to do. And she's like, fuck that. And I'm like, oh, okay, fuck it. So I didn't get a phone call. I didn't get a text. Because usually in emergencies, you know, they call the next of kin if you were out or whatever. In my head, okay? I don't know if they actually do this. Because I'm actually responsible. So we decided to go off, and in my town here, we have a road that's just basically like highway. It is a road, it's in the city, it's just that it's privately owned, I guess, but it's publicly used, so if they ever want to put a toll there, they will, but I haven't been on that road, now that I think about it. I think it's because it was a long time ago. Anyways, it's a long time ago since I've been on that street, or road, or whatever. I get there. Well, I don't get there like it's a location. You know what I mean? We get there. We start on horseback. So we start going on horseback, and there's a storm, because in every movie there's a storm where people get lost. Yeah. And then we run into... Sorry. It starts getting snow and it gets cold, and we weren't prepared because we just came from my lunch, right? And we bump into a rancher, in a sense, you know. We get there, and this lady, she's real nice. She's like, "Oh, hey, girls, what are you doing out?" And we got kind of lost, and they're like, "Oh, you can come and stay with us for a while while you get your bearings." And I'm like, okay. Sure, I guess. Okay, you know, strangers, whatever. So we get there. And this lady, you hear, "Hey, Mom." it's one of my male coworkers. Now, I'm not saying this guy is... I'm not saying that I have a crush on him. I'm just saying that he's really endeared to me, okay? Like, I don't treat him like crap like I treat everybody else. And, yeah, so he's like, "Hey, man," he's real serious, too. And, I turn around, and I'm like, wait, what? Take into account, this is a huge house that has a courtyard, that has huge, like, the trees walking, the double line of trees at the road in the middle, like, just extended. It takes like an hour to get into the house. That's how big the freaking house is. Like, it is a mansion. This is not like, dude, we work at 9 to 5. What do you, like, I mean, I don't bring it up because, you know, he doesn't bring it up, you know, and he doesn't look or live like he fucking has, like, you know, $1 million to spend hourly. So I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna bring it up. So apparently his mom knows who I am. So I'm like, okay. He's like, "Oh, it's you." And I'm like, "It's me." He's like, "Yes, no, you work with my son, and, you know, he follows you and stuff." And I'm like, "He does? Okay. Okay, I guess. I don't know, like, But once again, I don't bring up the fact that the motherfucker's rich, you know? So I'm like, oh, well, it's nice to meet you. And he talks about his family. Don't get me wrong, he talks about his family and everything, but I'm just like, okay, that's cool, dude. Like, I'm being nice. I'm not genuinely nice. And I respect, like, what he's saying. Like, I'm actually paying attention to shit, but I didn't expect that, you know? Oh, yeah, and plus, we're rich, so, you know, so it makes more sense. But it doesn't, because you're working 9 to... Oh, whatever, okay. I digress. So we get into the house, and the house is beautiful. Like, it is... Oh, it is massive. Like, it's this really... On the outside, it's this really tall... I think probably like 3 stories high. Like, looks like 5 buildings shaped like a giant U. And... they're all attached by this kind of like a breezeway thing. So I'm like, I was just in awe and shock and just, whoa, you know, like, I was not expecting this. I really wasn't. I thought the dude lived in an apartment or some shit, or in a small house, because I live in a small house. But no, he lived in a freaking spa resort looking house. Okay, so he's sitting across from me. My best friend sitting next to me. His mom's sitting on the other side of me. And I'm just like, oh, this is weird. And he's like, ladies, would you like... his mom's like, hey, ladies, would you like to go get dressed for some jackets and stuff you have if you still want to go out right now? And I'm like, sure. And she's like, yeah, that'd be fine. So we prepare the horses. And then the horses are gone because it's a dream and shit disappears for no fucking reason. So I'm like, oh my gosh, Sadie, what the hell was that? She's like, who's that guy? Why do you guys keep staring at each other? Like, oh, he's my coworker. And I've talked about my coworker to her, I'm sorry, and she's like, that's him. I'm like, yeah, why? And she's like, oh, he's cute. And I'm like, that's not the shocking part. She's like, but I didn't know he lived here. She's like, what do you mean? He's like, I thought you guys were close. I'm like, no, it's a coworker thing. I didn't know he lived here. I didn't know he lived in this size of here. She's like, oh, okay. So we're getting ready, and his dad comes out, and I'm like, holy shit, okay. This is just weird. This is weird. This is weird. This is weird. It's just weird. And oh god, it's just weird. And his dad seems really, really nice. And okay, not that I wasn't expecting his parents to be nice. It's just that, you know, a dream aside, you know, because this is all technically in my head, you'd be surprised of the emotions, the characteristics your head gives to people you've never fucking met. You know, kind of how like some people's like, you know, I have a feeling that Taylor Swift is just like a bitch. And I'm like, is that a good thing or a bad thing? You know, bitches can be fun. Or like Sean Connery was your typical grandpa. You know, shit like that. But you've never met the person. But you can say, oh, I've had dreams with that person, you know, so there's that. But this, I've never met his parents. I've never heard his parents speak. I've never, like, nothing about his parents. I don't know anything about his parents, and yet my head's still making up all these assumptions only because I know him. Anyways, back to the dream. They come out, there's, like, shitloads of people that were like, okay, it's like, oh, we decided to have a party to celebrate that my coworker it's his birthday, and I'm like, it's his birthday? He's like, yeah, so girls go and have fun outside. And when he would say that he would see, like, oh yeah, there's like mountain lions by my house, and I would think like, wait, what? Hence why I thought he lived in a small house somewhere in the middle of the freaking road or highway. Okay, no, it's because he owns mountain lions. Okay, who the fuck owns a mountain lion? And then, but while his mom was explaining these things, I see the mountain lion, and that comes to my head, and I'm like, stupid. So the whole dream proceeds with him having this massive pool in the backyard, which you're like, Eureka, wasn't it just snowing? I'm like, yeah, it was just snowing. But then again, it's a dream. It doesn't always have to snow in the dream. So, after the tour his mom gave us outside, I was like, wow. I was just like, shit. So I write a note, and I try to get his attention. I'm like, and he's like, hey, he's like, you're not going to tell her? I'm like, I'm not going to tell, I promise. He's like, are you going to blackmail? I'm like, why am I going to blackmail you, dude? And I give him the note. And he just looks at the note. Well, he reads it. I'm assuming he reads it. He doesn't just look at the note, he reads it. And then he looks at me, and then he just smiles. Now, here's the thing. I don't know what I wrote in the note. I was like, get your dream out of you. I don't know. Whatever it was, he enjoyed that. So, I don't know. And that's when I wake up, because there is a screaming toddler outside. Oh god, the twos really are terrible. The terrifying twos, that's what it should be called for the parents. Terrible twos for the babies, but yeah. So that's the extent of my dream today. I dreamt of a coworker. And before you ask, how do you have so much, like, oh, what his parents look like or whatever, because I really do follow him on a social media platform, and he's really family oriented, but I don't know. It's just weird. Now, before nobody ever actually says anything, do I like him? I don't fucking know. I stopped questioning or allowing that emotion to exist in me, because it's just, it's annoying. It's complicated, and right now I feel freakishly awesome when I'm alone. That's me, okay? But yeah, I don't know. I just figured I'd rather put this down into, like, the world, or, like, say it, because I will not forget. I'll have remnants of my dreams later on. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this really random video. Really random thing, but when I dream, I'll record. So, yay! Bye.